There's many a digital PR idea that have died because their distribution sucked. It's incredibly important. Think of the distribution as much as you think of the idea itself. We live in an age where people can create content within 2-3 seconds that a journalist's inbox is bombarded with thousands of emails every single day. So you need to make sure that whatever you put out there is incredibly good, but also distributed very, very carefully. So it's very important to put in a lot of time into your media list to find the right people to send the story to. A really good framework to think about it is to tackle 3 different questions. What publications tend to talk about this topic? What publications have covered this type of story before? And what audiences actually care about it? So in terms of publication, is this a local story? Is it a national story? Does it have angles for both? Do they tend to talk about technology or cars or home or real estate? The second thing is, even if it's not a publication that covers this topic, do they cover this type of story? So it might be a technology story, but you're pitching it to a lifestyle publication because they cover this sort of story. iPhone settings that you can change or different ways to be more productive on your laptop is an intersection between technology and lifestyle so that you can pitch it to lifestyle publications. So looking at your headline, certain keywords, certain topics, and searching for this story on Google News could lead you to different publications that cover this sort of story, but not necessarily directly your topic. And finally, what audiences would be interested in reading this and where can you find them? And find as many places as possible because it's incredibly competitive now and it's very hard to guarantee. So unless you're pitching it as a very specific exclusive to a very specific journalist, cast the net far and wide to as many relevant publications and journalists as you can. Also, don't forget to include freelance journalists. If they cover a certain beat consistently, it might be worth sending them the story because they can also help publish it on a couple of different sites. Creating your media list takes a ton of time and it's very difficult to even get started. So one of the easiest ways I've found is by just going to the stories themselves. And to save a lot of time on that, you can use Break the Web's features. You go to Break the Web and you go to the technology section and you scroll to find stories that work for you. Let's say the iPad Air being released. And then here you can find a ton of different publications who have already written about that story. All you need to do is go find the story and then find the journalist writing about it. And so just like that, you have the basis for your media list where you can start expanding, finding more, and even taking these types of publications into ChatGPT and asking, are there any other similar publications out there? And just like that, you've got a ton of different outlets that you can pitch your story to. So before you create any specific media list, I would do the following. 1, create a list of angles that might be interesting with as many different hooks as possible. 2, write the different beats that every single one of those headlines covers. And then I would take each of those beats and headlines and find the best publications, sources, communities, influencers to reach out to with the information. Once you've got the list, there's a bunch of different ways to find their emails. A lot of journalists have it readily available. You can use media list tools if you're willing to invest a bit more, where they correlate the information for you. There's email finders like hunter.io, and then you're ready to pitch your story. But I wouldn't just leave it at that. After the first pitch, one of the things you can also do is continue expanding your media list. So you can go back to places like Break the Web, find other stories and other journalists are interested in your topic, and use those to add to your story to keep pitching it. If it's not a super timely story, it might be that you need to pitch it once or twice before you get any traction. So keep at it, keep building the list. Just make sure that you're spending as much time on the list as you did on the idea. Also, I would avoid the most common mistakes people do when they're creating a media list. 1, do not buy email media lists. A lot of the time, they're either obtained illegitimately or they are outdated and not really relevant anymore. Journalists change jobs all the time, so you have to build new lists every month sometimes because of the frequency of job changes. Spray and pray. There's a lot of automated tools that push your stories to hundreds and thousands of different places without any targeting at all. You'll get a lot of opens, but you might not necessarily get the right journalists, and you're going to piss a lot of journalists off because you're probably not taking the time to understand whether they even write about the topic or not. Not checking what the journalist writes about. It's very important that every name on your list is someone that would actually write about this, because otherwise there is no chance that they will cover it, and you might even get blocked if you email that journalist a few times with irrelevant stories. And then finally, getting their name wrong. Make sure that you write their name correctly if you are moving the media list into your email or using an outreach tool. Just make sure you get the name correctly. It's such a small thing, but it actually goes a long way. And now you're ready to pitch your first PR campaign. But before you hit send, there's a bunch of things that you need to check. And if you want to avoid tanking your campaign over a few adjustments, you can watch this video that explains exactly what to do right before you hit send.